When you think Bok Tower Gardens, you think peaceful setting, Carillon plain, and the little animals frolicking around. But I bet you never thought of Bok Tower Gardens as a race course, a 5K race course. Well, the event's coming up, and you definitely want to get involved. And joining us in studio to tell us a little bit more about the 5K event, or the Carillon Classic, is Marybeth Soderstrom. She's the Community Outreach Coordinator for Career Source Polk, but for the Carillon Classic, she's the race director and the vice president. Is that how that goes?
Yes, yeah.
And then also joining us, his normal paying gig, as he says, the Community Affairs Manager for Southwest Florida Water Management District, Danny Kushmer, but for the purposes of today, he's the 5K sponsor chair.
That is correct.
Is that how that goes?
Yep.
Thanks for coming in, and how long have you been coming in and doing these interviews?
Oh, well, since I think that I came in on with Career Source Polk, I've been coming in for all sorts of stuff, and then with the Carillon Classic, it's always a fun thing to come out and promote.
So in all these times that you've been doing these shows, I've never hosted.
No,
you
you've
didn't
never.
Even think I had the ability,
I know,
did you?
I know. I didn't think you could do it. I didn't think you had it in you.
You're like, that dude can walk and chew gum. I didn't even think you knew his name.
Well, we'll see. We're just starting. We don't know.
No, it's the vote of confidence I get,
I love it.
It's the public relations person in her, Well, let's talk a little bit about the FPRA. What exactly is the FPRA? Of course, they're sponsoring the race.
The local chapter is the Dick Pope Polk County chapter, and that's who hosts the 5K, which is the Carillon Classic Run and Walk.
Danny, can you tell us a little bit about the chapter's history?
Absolutely. It's crazy. I work for the Southwest Florida Water Management District, which is a mouthful. And then I'm part of an organization as the Dick Pope Polk County chapter of FPRA, another mouthful.
Yeah.
Great organization, obviously founded by Dick Pope, who created Cypress Gardens. The history of FPRA, we're the nation's oldest PR organization for a statewide organization. So we started 76 years ago, founded by Dick Pope Sr. and Lieutenant Colonel Dillon, who was a PR aficionado throughout the state. He worked with many of the roadside attractions back in the early 20s and 30s, from Weeki Wachee Springs down to Jungle Gardens. The organization itself is made up of 15 chapters throughout the state, from the Panhandle down to South Florida, and has a statewide executive committee, which I serve on as the VP of Chapter Services. We offer accreditation in public relations through APR, which is an accredited public relations professional, and as Marybeth said, professional development through the local chapters. So our local chapters really support the statewide organization, made up of almost 1,000 members.
When you think public relations, you think a lot of governmental things, Southwest Florida Water Management, of course, Polk County government, things along that lines. But this is so much more than that, isn't it?
It really is, and we have members that are from all walks throughout business organizations, agencies, a lot of governmental agencies, but a lot of private agents or organizations out there as well. And in Polk County, we have just under 60 members, representing a wide spectrum of groups throughout the county.
Now, Marybeth, you guys do other things other than the Carillon Classic. You're always giving back to the community. What are some of the things that you do in your outreach?
Well, the Carillon Classic is one of the biggest ways that we give back to the community, but the other thing that we really work on is a project called Fill-A-Bag, where we help collect toiletry items for homeless students in Polk County. So that's a effort that goes all over the county, and we work really hard on that project each year as well.
Yeah, we always love giving you a hand with that, and of course bringing you in to talk about it. But the point at hand now is the Carillon Classic. Talk to me a little bit about how it got started.
Well, 3 years ago, we were looking for a way to fundraise in our community so that we could help support all of the initiatives that we do, and it came to us, we hadn't done a 5K before. We thought it might be fun. We started talking with Bok Tower. There was nobody currently doing a 5K there, and we struck up an amazing partnership with them, and so they allow us to do this 5K. We're the only running event that's at Bok Tower Gardens, so it's really special because it really celebrates, I think, a lot of Polk County and how beautiful our outdoors are.
talk about the venue itself. I mean, I could get lost down there for hours, and I could just imagine, you know, a peaceful run through there.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful run. You know, people aren't making their best time at our run, we'll say that, because, because it's a mixed terrain course. So you're running on gravel, on pavement, on mulch. You do a portion of the runs through the groves. So when you first drive into Bok Tower, if you see all those groves, part of the run is through there. And then part of the run is through the gardens as well. So right at the end, almost before the 3rd mile, you get right up to the tower and you run right past the tower. And then you come down the finish line, and it's a nice race. The Carillon plays the whole time, and so this year we even hope to have a little tribute because, as I said, the race is on May 3rd, and so it's still Kentucky Derby Day.
Oh, nice.
So we'll hope to have my old Kentucky home play from the Carillon.
Is there a degree of difficulty in the race dodging the squirrels too?
We haven't had any squirrel issues, and we do really mark the course because, as you said, it could get confusing. We have one of our local supporters who actually helps and comes out, and he's a mountain biker, so he leads the race. So even the fastest runners don't have to think about where they're going; they just follow the biker.
Nice. Now, Danny, your contribution to this is the sponsorship chair. Talk to me a little bit about what it takes to pull an event like this together sponsor-wise.
Well, sure, and without Marybeth, we wouldn't have an event. It's an amazing event. It's a great opportunity. As she said, we started it 3 years ago, and it supports a lot of the professional development that we as a chapter provide for our members. And number one is allowing opportunities for scholarships to go to our annual meeting, scholarships for continuing your education and public relations. So the funds that we receive partly go to that effort, but really a big part of the funds that we earmarked since the beginning is to the George W. Harris Jr. Runaway Youth and Crisis Shelter. Another long name. We love long names.
Exactly.
And to get them out is pretty amazing. But you know, as you know, the shelter is located here in Bartow and named after the great banker who created Citrus and Chemical Bank, who had a real kind heart to our runaway children in Polk County. The shelter serves the Heartland, Polk, Hardy, and Highlands County, ages 10 to 17. So kids that have been, you know, locked out of their home, run away from their home, due to abuse or due to neglect or just they're a little messed up and get away from the house and don't really understand life. The shelter welcomes in these kids and gives them a safe place to be during a transition period with the idea of getting them back in home or some other place where they can be comfortable. I got involved with the shelter about 6 years ago, and one of the kids told me at that time, just explaining why he was there, but he said, you know, it's a place to go when there's no place else to go. And that just struck me hard. And, you know, being a father myself, raising kids, you want to help those kids better themselves. So we partnered with that organization and we provide some funding to that quite a bit, as a matter of fact, over the last 2 years. So sponsorship, you know, part of the funding that we're receiving for this race is going to support that shelter. And they're operated by Youth and Family Alternatives, for the most part, all volunteers. A lot of donations come into these shelters, so they need funding. But we're looking for new and exciting sponsors to come on board.
Always looking,
always
right?
looking for it. And you know, the easy way to find out more information is go to our website, which is FPRAPolk.org. So we made that pretty simple, FPRAPolk.org, and you can see a little link for the Carillon Classic, and there's opportunities to download sponsorship forms. And we have all levels, from as little as $200, $250, to as much as you would like to give. And we certainly like to talk to folks like that because it's going for a worthy cause. And that information is all available for them.
Now, you know, becoming a sponsor of the event is one thing, but it's making the investment back into the community for those in need. Talk about the importance of you know, it takes the village to raise the children. You
know, it really does. And one thing that drew me to this organization when I came to work for the district was the fact that this chapter gives back to the community. You know, Marybeth brought up the Fill-A-Bag. We in the past, when I came on board, we were doing teddy bears at Christmas. Every year there's been something that this organization has taken on a cause to support, and that's really important. So we're developing PR professionals, and we're hoping to increase their career, but at the same time realizing it's important to give back to the community. So our chapter, our board, and our members decided 3 years ago that the Harris Shelter was a worthy goal to support. And you know, we're PR people. One of the things they've always talked about is we need more people to find out we're here. Well, we're PR people. We should be doing that for them. So it's been a good partnership.
Yeah. And Marybeth, now as far as the race goes, you know, it goes on May 3rd. But my guess is once it's over May 3rd, the planning app probably starts May 4th for the next one.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
What's it take to put on something like this?
Well, it's a lot of coordination between so many parties that are really invested. So between the partnership we have with Bok Tower and the support we've received from the grounds there to the George Harris Youth Shelter, they're really involved in the planning and the support. We try and really pull in elements of the shelter. Even last year, we were able to bring artwork that the students at the shelter had created. So along the race course, as you run, you get encouragement from the kids. To our chapter members who are doing everything from finding sponsorships to coordinating teams, because there is a team element to the race. And so it's really just, it's a group effort to bring it all together. And we're really proud as an organization and as a group that we've been able to raise almost $8,000 just for the George Harris Youth Shelter in the past 2 years. It's a nice event for the whole family. Bok Tower very graciously allows you to bring your whole family with you and enjoy the gardens the rest of the day. So I think all around it's just a nice family community event.
As Danny said, sponsors play a vital role in helping you. What kind of role do volunteers play in making the run a success?
Volunteers are huge. So I rely on our committee for sure leading up to the race, but then the day of and even the night before, we need about 50 or 60 people who are there to cheer people on, point them in the right direction so we don't have people lost in the woods, hand out water, I mean everything. And so a lot of those volunteers are people who care about the shelter or care about FPRA, but some people are just there because they care about running in Polk County and they love Bok Tower Gardens. So it's a great celebration, I think, of Polk County.
Can the folks volunteer for this event, and how would they go about doing it such?
So our runners, they can register either on paper and mail it in, or they can go to active.com, and this is all through our website. And our volunteers can actually register for free through active.com. So they would go just like they're registering to run the event, and instead they get to choose that they want to be a volunteer, they get a t-shirt, and hopefully have a great time.
All right. Well, guys, we're looking forward to the third annual Carillon Classic, and I want to thank you for coming into the studio and joining us.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. You did a good job.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think I did a good job. We'll and we encourage you at home to make sure you become a part of this. It's the third annual Carillon Classic. It is scheduled for May 3rd. Race starts at 7:30 in the morning, and it all takes off at Bok Tower Gardens. Now, the adult registration you have to have in by April 9th. That's going to cost you $25 for adults, $15 for students. There's an additional $5 charge if you late register, and that's after the 9th. Now, they would really like to have your money in by the 9th, but if you don't get it in right away, you know, they'll still work with you. So make sure you check it out. The event is hosted by the Dick Pope Polk County chapter of the Florida Public Relations Association, and proceeds will benefit its educational and professional initiatives, as well as the George W. Harris Jr. Runaway and Youth Crisis Shelter. Make sure you go out and support the Carillon Classic 5K Run and Walk.